Are
Yeah,
you good for
that's
that?
totally fine. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
absolutely. So it's
And you're gonna
wonderful.
want me back, so
Yeah, I know that.
calm down.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
pace
talking about.
yourself.
It's
Pace
always
yourself. Yeah,
it's always about part two. So we will have the sequel. It's great to meet you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for
great
taking a
to meet
minute
you
out to
too,
the
Joe.
show.
You
So
bet. You bet. Thanks for having me.
you bet. So let's begin our journey here into your world of being a chief well-being officer by asking you this. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed our lives. How did you get through it, and how has it changed the way that you do things now?
Ooh, oh wow, that's a great question. Man, you are diving in.
Right in.
Uh, yeah. So the pandemic rocked everybody's world, didn't it?
Yeah.
So one of the things that it really forced me to do, because primarily my original businesses, I've owned pet care businesses for about 25 years now. So that was the very first time I had actually had a holiday in 20 years where I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have a million animals, people's pets that I was taking care of. And it was really because it was really eye opening. I'd forgotten how normal people, live and what they do on holidays. But it really, the pandemic, just like everybody else, was kind of eye opening to how quickly, even at that point, I was well into my stress management journey and helping others. And, it really forced me in particular to sit down with myself and go, wow, okay, what have I been leaving behind? What have I been forgetting? What have I been taking for granted? Especially that first time you get COVID and you have no idea what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But, there were a lot of stressful moments because of the unknown. And I think it really, um, gave me more practice in dealing with the unknown and managing that stress and anxiety that comes with that. And, at the time I was working, online with clients primarily just because of restrictions. But, a lot of us were talking about um, how we were kind of having to come face to face with dealing with surprises all the time and learning how to calm our nerves, how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because we were being forced into that. So we were talking a lot about, just some of the basics of stress management, deep breathing, um, you know, pausing and taking a minute instead of trying to hurry on and push through the next thing. Because that gave us time to actually have a few thoughts. Because when you're stressed out, your brain is actually getting less oxygen and it's filling up with hormones, a stress hormone, which, I also kind of refer to as a chemical that prevents you from having clear thoughts. And so taking that moment and taking that pause kind of gives it, number one, interrupts that stress response so that you can think clearer, but it also gives you a minute to think about a better way to respond instead of react, a better way to, and have better thoughts so that you're getting what you want out of the situation instead of just dealing with things as they come.
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of 12-year-olds. You're at career day, and the kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?"
I help your mom be less stressed and more fun.
I love it. So,
Yeah.
so what did you want to be at 12 years old? What was your dream gig?
I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted
Okay.
to be a writer. Yeah. Yeah. That's actually how I started my career. But yeah, I wanted to be on TV, chasing, you know, people down, getting stories. I was a nosy kid, and turned into an even nosier adult. So yeah.
Who were your favorite journalists? Who would you emulate?
Oh, wow. I absolutely loved Sam Donaldson
Yeah.
and Gwen Ifill on PBS. Barbara Walters, huge fan and huge trailblazer. Katie Couric was always fun to watch for me. She showed me, just a different demeanor,
Yeah.
where, you know, put a different spin on the news. Um, I felt,
Yeah.
but yeah, those were some of the big ones. And I did get to meet my hero, Sam Donaldson. He was fantastic.
I bet he was. Yeah. They
Yeah.
tend to be pretty transparent. I don't think they can really hide that
Mhm.
persona. I think they probably click into it. Um,
Yeah.
So talk to me about your career. How did you talk to me about your beginnings and how you evolved to this point?
Oh, sure. So I actually, I started out as a journalist. I started right out of college, and it was one kind of natural progression, honestly. Strange, but natural. And as a young journalist, you are, making no money.
Yeah.
So, to make ends meet, I was actually pet sitting on the side. And that just kind of snowballed after a few years. And it was nicely timed with the newspaper slash journalism community getting hit with its kind of the beginning of, mass layoffs. And I saw the writing on the wall and just really looked more seriously at truly opening a serious pet sitting business, and did that next. And that snowballed into opening a luxury dog resort and dog daycare here in Dallas, that I've since sold.
Yeah.
But that about around 2009, 2010 is when I burned out, which led me to my career in researching stress and stress management.
It's interesting you mentioned Gen X, and I feel like the older I get, the more I'm over 50, I am embracing that whole era that we lived through. Just all of the things we've seen, the beginnings of rotary dial to iPhones and all of these different things in
Yeah.
between. It's kind of fascinating to be that bridge and to live through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, I totally agree. We were used to a much slower life.
yeah, yeah, we certainly were. So talk to me a little bit about heroes.
Yeah.
Who has been your inspirational force in your life to allow you to find the path from journalism to helping people right now with stress?
This is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but my mom.
Yeah,
I learned a lot from my mom. My mom was a trailblazer herself. She, was a business owner when that wasn't exactly popular for women. And, women were, I grew up as a latchkey kid. I know a lot of kids grew up that way, but it was still uncommon for my mom to be working as a business owner and making her own path. So I've always thought that that was cool. I mean, it definitely gave me the confidence to jump from one profession to another, to do things that are outside of the box, to go ahead and follow my gut rather than what other people say is the right thing to do or what I should be doing.
so I got to tap into that journalistic notion. If you could cover one story, go in a time machine and cover one story, where would you go? What would you love to have covered?
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that's a great question. Um, I want to, oh, wow. I watched a few years ago, I watched a documentary. I think it was ESPN did a whole series on Title IX
Yeah,
and its passage. And that's had a huge impact on our generation, especially our generation of girls and women, and how we were able to pursue educational opportunities, job opportunities, athletic opportunities that were not available for us, prior to. And I think that would have been really cool, um, to be a part of, covering that and digging into those ideas, and, following the women that were leading the charge on getting that passed. Because that was a very tumultuous, moment in history for American women.
yeah,
Right ahead of that is our right to vote.
yeah.
But I think I just don't think it's gotten enough coverage, I guess.
Yeah.
Like women don't talk about it enough.
I love that 30 for 30 thing that they do. And that's
Yeah.
what I think I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I learned
So,
so much.
yeah, totally. So,
Yeah.
what is the motivation for you every day to wake up and to do this work? Because when you're coaching and helping people, you kind of have to get into their lives. It can be, you got to get messy a little bit. What is the motivation when that alarm clock goes off to do this at a high level, to take care of your own soul, your family, all of the things? What is that for you?
I am so fascinated by human behavior and how our brains work.
Yeah.
And that is probably the foundation of that. but I'm also very passionate about helping other people pursue their goals and pursue their dreams and be that person that gets to motivate them or help them find a path or help them push the obstacles out of the way. It's such a cool feeling when somebody comes back to me and says, "Oh my gosh, that thing we worked on, Jennifer, I did it." Um, just their excitement, their enthusiasm, the pride that they feel, even though I didn't personally do it, whatever it was, the goal that they were working towards, I was a part of that, that motivating factor. And, that's just really fulfilling to me.
What was one of the first client success stories you had that validated that you made the right choice in this career of changing things and getting to this point of coaching? Did you have a moment, an epiphany that validated that you made the right choice?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was actually I was at a luncheon. It was a charity luncheon for women. I think it was a breast cancer luncheon. And I was sitting at a table, with 10 other women. And, everybody was a professional. Everybody, had a career. And some had children, some of us didn't. But, we were talking about, the stress and, just kind of how natural it seemed that, what our roles were like, in terms of how we are supposed to be prioritizing versus how we, society wants us to prioritize our lives. And I started talking about some of the research I had been doing at the time. And one of the women just looked at me and had tears in her eyes. And she said she had felt so seen and so heard. She said, I just thought that this was, we were supposed to be this stressed out all the time. I just thought that we were supposed to do, put our children first and put our families first and, take care of ourselves last. That's what I was always taught. And, having that discussion with those other women present, just nodding their heads, another woman commented that she had never been comfortable talking about this with anybody before. She'd had some of these thoughts and some of these inklings, but had never been given that safe space to actually say, this isn't the way that I want to do things, or I'm feeling really stressed out about, X, Y, and Z. But society says I should be able to handle all this. Um, that was it was a moment where thought, God, if I can just start those conversations and give, even one, two, three, four people, just that moment of peace and that moment of safety where they don't feel like they're so crazy. Because, I've been in that position myself. In fact, that was kind of what led me into the stress, learning, more about stress and how to recover from burnout. When I initially started talking, when I was burned out, talking to some other business owners about it, they just shook their head at me and told me that maybe this just wasn't the thing for me, instead of saying, hey, wait, maybe it would help to talk to somebody, or hey, it would help to see how, what your processes are. It was just, instead of just more pressure filled, the way that people, really, the messaging that you really get from the hustle culture, to keep doing, and, choke down the things that hurt or you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Um, it was validating, talking to them, and I knew I was on the right track.
So if you had a dream tonight, ran into that 18-year-old version of you, and you had a book in your hands, and it was a coffee table book, and it was your life at this point, and you handed it to that young version and said, this is how it turned out. Would that version of you believe it?
No, not
Okay.
in a million years. No, not in a million years.
Would you give any advice?
Listen and observe. Shut your mouth. You don't always have the right answer, or you don't always, and also it's okay to not know what you're doing, and it's okay to ask questions. Um, I was, for a very long time, I was afraid to say I don't know, which led to a lot more stress and a lot more work than was absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
And advice to other people, follow your gut. don't do what everybody else is doing. Don't subscribe to what is, the typical um, path, maybe, that that's expected of you, regardless of where you came from and who
So,
you are.
yeah, for sure. So, of everything that you've done, accomplished, and evolved to, what are you the proudest of?
Becoming confident in myself, becoming confident in my dreams, and becoming um, comfortable with who I am. And really, this is going to sound strange, but I am really proud of allowing my give a damn to bust and doing what I need to do.
So, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I am a witty, smart ass that is curious, that enjoys people, and people enjoy me being around me. They feel comfortable, they feel safe, and they feel like they can be honest and be themselves around me.
So the one thing about being a journalist is there's always that wonder that exists within us. It never goes away. It's almost like getting
Yeah.
your first tattoo. You just want more and more and more. So I'm going to ask you this. If you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history happen before your eyes, it won't create a tear in time. You just get to watch it happen. What are you going to see?
Oh boy. Oh, I'm not entirely even sure.
What about a
Wow.
game? What about it? So speaking of the
That's what I'm
Royals,
thinking about.
we were talking about the fantasy camp before we got on. If you could
Yeah.
go and see a game, what game would you go see?
I mean, this is kind of recent history, but I really wish I could have been a part of their last World Series.
Yeah,
Watch that, because I did see some of the games when they won in the 80s.
yeah.
But, you know, I think it's just fun, like following a team, through those ups and downs, and then finally getting to the success part. I would probably go back to early Iowa Hawkeye football.
Yeah, yeah,
I would want to be, probably be a little bit mouthy on that one and
right.
provide my opinion that might change some things. I don't
That,
know.
that's it. It's like the superstition. It's like the one guy that didn't change his shirt the whole World Series made him win.
Right,
It's those
right,
little
right.
moments, right?
Exactly. Keep
It-
those socks on, kids,
that
no
that
matter how bad they smell.
Exactly. I did hear that the locker room for that 2014 run was so rancid because no one would change or shower. They had to spray Victoria's Secret perfume all over in
Oh,
there. Yeah.
oh, yeah.
You hear
Okay, that's
stories like
bad.
that. Yeah. It's like, what do you, come on, guys. Like you just, but the cool thing about living in Kansas City during that time is I went through all of the dark ages of the Chiefs and the Royals. So I have
Yeah,
kids now, and to be able to go to the parades with them has been one of the coolest things ever, you know?
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you're a loyal fan like that and your
Yeah.
team goes through, you're in that pit,
Uh-huh.
it's a roller coaster ride, but when you're in the pit of it, man, it's tough.
Yeah, it is.
And as a Hawkeye fan as well as a Royal fan, I've been in plenty of those pits
Uh-huh.
where you think you're never going to get out of that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I get it. And getting to see them finally win again and, be the strong team that you grew up knowing is like, thank God.
it's amazing.
Nobody
Absolutely.
thinks I'm lying.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So if anybody wants to take the next step and ask questions, hire you, reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
They go to my website at jenniferbassman.com, and you can also email me at jennifer@jenniferbassman.com. And this is my dog
I
Molly saying
love it.
hi to everybody.
I've seen the tail. I love seeing animals come
Yeah.
in. It
Oh
always
yeah.
brightens the mood. So I
Good.
will put all of those links in the show notes. This has been absolutely wonderful. Jennifer, thank you for your energy. Thank you for your support.
Thanks.
Best of luck with everything.
Thanks. Same to you, Joe. Thank you. Go
Thank you.
Royals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And